So my question to you guys, do you currently invest in Palantir Technology, or are you planning to start a position? And where do you see this company going within the next 10 years? Palantir has been headlining all over the news since they released their Q4 earnings, and the investing superstar Cathie Wood at Ark Invest bought a ton of Palantir stocks. So for these two reasons, Palantir and everyone and their grandmother is now talking about Palantir. And today in this video, I want to tell you why I am buying Palantir. And actually, I bought Palantir before their earning reports and before Ark Invest started buying Palantir. So today in this video, I want to cover a couple of topics with you guys. One, what does Palantir do for business and what kind of business they are in? And two, how does Palantir make their money and who are some of their customers? And lastly, I will share with you guys my position that I started with Palantir a couple of weeks ago and why I will continue to buy in the future. Before we get started, welcome back to the channel. My name is Imon at Money Host. If you guys like this kind of finance content, please feel free to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel as I will be uploading new content every single week. Now that you're done with smashing the like button, we can get started with the video and start talking about Palantir Technology. So last week, Palantir Technology, ticker symbol PLTR, reported their Q4 earnings for 2020, and the results were mixed. So the stock dropped by double digit, almost like what, 14 or 15%, I think. And then very next day, Cathie at Ark Invest started buying Palantir. She bought a total of like what, 6.8 million stocks in a matter of a day. So what does this all mean? Where is Palantir going next? In case if you're not sure who Cathie Wood is, I'll throw a picture on the screen right above here so you'll know who she is. Cathie Wood is a actively fund manager at Ark Invest. She currently has a total of 5 ETF, and all of them has returned between 1 to 200% just in 2020 alone. Almost anything that she touches has been turning into gold. So a lot of people started following what she does and what she buys and start mimicking her trades. So once the news was out that Cathie Wood was buying Palantir, the Cathie Wood effect increased the Palantir stocks by 15% on Friday. So now let's talk about the company, the Palantir Technology. What does Palantir do and type of business they are in? You see, I feel like most people misunderstand what Palantir does. Palantir Technology is a purely software company. They build AI-driven software that can be used as an infrastructure to delve into users' data and make decisions based on the data. So basically, their algorithm helps user go through data and sort data and make better decisions what the company or the government would be doing. Palantir does not own, collect, or store any data for clients at all. You see, in this age, data is a hot commodity. Everybody's trying to make money using the customer's data. If you look at it, companies like Google and Facebook and almost like every other tech companies trying to take advantage of data and trying to market to customers based on the data they already have. If you think about it, even Robinhood has been on the news all over this week for selling their customer data to hedge fund companies like Citadel. So yes, they allow customers to trade for free, but they take the history, those customer data, the history of customers' transaction, and sell it for money. So data are actually gold in this age right now. So that's where Palantir comes in. Customer can have a ton of data, but if they cannot use these data are useless. So now that you know Palantir is a software company, not a data company, how does Palantir make money and the type of money they make? And where is this company going potentially 10 years from now? You see, Palantir makes money from their customers through annual business subscription model by licensing their software to customers, and customer basically pay them a fee for using their softwares. So this is no different than like, you know, you and I subscribing to the Netflix or Spotify and using their service and paying them money on monthly basis. So a lot of the Palantir's customers are the government agencies and some of the bigger corporations. Palantir currently has over 140 customers total, but most of their revenue, at least 61% of their revenue, is coming from government contracts. So their revenue per customer for 2020 was $7.9 million per customer. That's the average they earned per customer out of their 140 customers they have. And their top 20 customers generated $33.2 million per customer just in 2020. So during the Q4 earnings calls, they mentioned they're expecting the company to grow at more than 30% from now on until 2025 at least. And they also mentioned they're expecting the revenue to grow to $4 billion by 2025. This is a company that is investing aggressively and growing exponentially. And they also mentioned, we hope those of you on this call who are current investor stay with us. And those of you who prefer a short-term focus, go find another company to invest in. And Cathie Wood was on CNBC explaining what does this line actually means. So let's look at what Cathie said.
It's interesting to listen to the CEO. He was speaking our language. He essentially said to investors, we are playing in a massive space here, and we're going to invest aggressively now in order to capitalize on the exponential changes that are taking place here. So if you are short-term in your focus, you probably don't want to spend too much time investing in Palantir.
So basically what they're saying is that they're investing in the future of company right now. They're not worried about earnings or profit right now or dividend now. They are focused on growing this company over the long term. So now that you know what Cathie Wood thinks about this company and where she thinks it's going, let's look at who some of their customers are. So Palantir originally started licensing their softwares to US government, especially to US defense and US intelligence communities. So a lot of these customers like the US government and other agencies that are using Palantir software, they're using it to make decisions, to see what things might happen and make a data-driven decision based on that. But they have different products that they are marketing and licensing to corporate customers like financial institutions, big hedge funds, companies like BP, Airbus, Morgan Stanley, Fiat, Chrysler, and recently they just signed a contract with IBM as well. So like I mentioned, Palantir makes about 61% of their revenue from the government contracts. But the question is, can Palantir scale up and sign up more corporate customers to use their softwares to diversify their revenue sources, so that way they're not strictly relying on the US government contracts? But then again, if you think about it, government agencies have almost unlimited money, especially the US federal government. When it comes to things like defense and intelligence community, government does not care how much something will cost. When they want to make something or do something, if they need to make a decision that is data driven, they are going to pay Palantir whatever it is required, whatever it costs. Most of the time, they don't really care how much something is going to cost. They just want it done. It's not about the money. It's about having the right data, right decision, and making that decision right there when it's needed. And for a moment, let's spend a minute to look at Palantir stock price. So if you look at the Palantir stock price for the last 1 week, you can see where the stock price was right around like what, $29. Then it dropped to about $25. And then when Cathie Wood bought it, the market went up again and the stock price hit right back to $29. So it's basically pretty even for the week. It almost looks like the dip never even happened. And if you look at the 1 month chart, Palantir is up about 15%. And for the 3 months, Palantir is up about 60%. And if you look at the 1 year chart, Palantir is up about 197%. So this is a company that IPO'd right around October of 2020. It's not even 6 months. The stock price is up already 197% just in the last 5 months, I think. So this is a company, I think, at its very early stage of its growth. I think this is a company that can 10x within the next 10 years, if not sooner. Like, I think this is a company that has a huge growth potential ahead. So I originally started a small position in this company about 2 weeks ago, and I'll show you my screenshot of how many stocks I own. I currently own about 125 stocks, and my average purchase price is $29. And I'm currently break-even point, but I'm not worried about it. I have a feeling that this is a company that will 10x, and I will continue to add to this position. So with everything going on, I think this is probably not the next Tesla, but I think this is gonna have a Tesla-like performance within the next 10 years. And for all those reasons, I'll continue to add and hold on to my position for very long term. I really hope you learned something new about Palantir Technology, and like the video if you liked it, And if you did not, you can always hit the thumbs down button as well. With that in mind, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.